I had relations with this person, but it was shit, y'all. What's up, besties? Welcome back to episode 4 of SoleilCity Podcast. So last week we spoke about femininity and masculinity, and I did give you guys a few meanings to the roles. So I hope you guys been getting back into that masculinity as a man, and for us females to get back into our feminine role and let's stop being a nigga, okay? So I also did release a surprise episode. I had my sister Shanti come in from the female side of things when it came to the date and who topic with Chris. So it's like a little bonus episode for you guys. And you guys were definitely blowing it up. So if you guys did miss it, you can always catch up and tune in. Like I said, I'm not deleting nothing. Now, today's topic is called Relationshit. Is your relationship is it floating on cloud 9, sailing on the beautiful Caribbean Sea and nothing can sink that ship? Okay. Or is it just plain old shit? It stinks. You can't stand the smell of who you're with no more. And I don't mean just in the literal sense. Well, either way it goes, we have a few questions that came in from my besties because you know what it is. Hot topic, no politics. So let's talk about it though. What is a relationship by definition? So it is the state of being connected by blood or marriage. The way in which two or more people or groups regard and behave towards each other. It could be friendships, work/professional, relatives, or familial relationships. But in this case, we are talking about a romantic relationship between man and woman. So let's take a quick break and we will get back into those questions. And then we'll talk more about some relationships I've encountered and the ones that were really relationships. I'll see you guys soon. All right, guys, and we're back to SoleilCity Podcast. So I just want to get into the questions of this topic, relationship. Now, the first question from a bestie is, do you think once a cheater, always a cheater? Plain and simple for me, I do not think once a cheater, always a cheater. My thing is, yeah, people are allowed to make mistakes. That's how you pretty much grow in life. You learn from your mistakes. But to me, when it comes to cheating takes time. So I don't know how much of that is a mistake. When I say time, a guy or a female meets someone and they say hello, they exchange numbers, they text, pretty much getting to know each other. So then, they start sneaking around to meet with this person. So now they're growing like some form of bond or relationship outside of who they have at home. So is that really considered a quote unquote mistake? To me personally, it's not. But I know there's sin in this world or sin here on earth, and mistakes are made and people either grow from it or you just gonna hoe from it. But if someone's constantly doing the same things they said they wouldn't do after given that first time pass of it being a mistake, then I would say once a cheater, always a cheater. But if you make this said mistake and you're no longer doing that mistake, like you're doing the things to correct your mistake, you're no longer doing anything of that sort, you're open with your partner, giving reassurance, just doing things differently to make your partner forgive you. Because one thing is, man or woman will never forget. But if you're working towards being a better you for who you have at home and just for yourself, then no, I don't believe in that concept of once a cheater, always a cheater. But it's different for every man and woman, honestly. No two people are alike. So yeah. Now, I saw this question from a friend on Facebook, and I just had to bring it to the podcast, besties. So it reads, ladies, would you want your man doing the things he does for you with another woman? So the examples were going out to restaurants to eat, picking her up and dropping her off on multiple occasions, and pretty much being the go-to man that she can be vulnerable with, basically a shoulder to lean on. So my first question is, sis, where your man at? My second question would be, men, would you want your lady going out to eat at restaurants with another man while you're home by yourself or with the kids? She told you she's going over to Tyler's house to go cry on his shoulder because she can't be emotional with you. Or even if she is, she's not getting the type of reception she needs from you. You know what I'm saying? She's picking Tyler up and dropping him off on multiple occasions. So let me ask for either one, at what point that you as the significant other gets time? Like, there has to be boundaries set, y'all. Like, that friend now has to be our friend, because there is a call for respect here, especially as a wife or husband. You cannot let someone else come in as if they're now getting the same attention, the time, the dedication to these things as your significant other. Come on, let's be fucking real here. There's Uber. They should have meals at home they could cook from home. And they might as well call their girlfriends, you know, if she's a female. Or you guys could link up with your boys. Like, talk about that shit with dumb people, not my man. Because let's be real, once again, at the end of the day, vulnerability can lead to these said mistakes. You know what I'm saying? Like, when something isn't right at home, you know, people don't usually leave. They pretty much outsource most of the time. So, you know, to me, men do it just to do it. Women do it with the intent of leaving or finding someone they can be themselves with and get comfort in that. What I'm saying is, as a man, you should know when to kind of pump your brakes. And I mean the same for ladies. At that point, your woman comes first. That friend should also know not to ask of these things, or be respectable enough to say, is wifey okay with this? Which 9 times out of 10, you know, we might not be. Well, we're not going to be. Let me just put it straight up. But what are you as a man pretty much gaining from this? It's like, you know, you're putting your family on the back burner. And I'm not saying you can't help, you know, take your female friend to the airport if she got to go somewhere and you're pretty much, you know, like her last resort. She pretty much asks everybody and ain't nobody coming through. But you got to run that by me first as your wife. You know what I'm saying? We might have plans that you may have forgotten. All I'm saying is just no. My man is my go-to man. So where's yours at, sis? And to me, at the end of the day, just by the question alone, that sounds polygamous. So just imagine he's doing for the next woman while I'm doing for the next man. That ain't no partnership, because once again, where's our time when we supposed to be the ones together? We might as well, you know, put his female friend and my guy friend together, and they can vent to each other. They could take Ubers together until they get a car. And I'm going to use the example I did in this scenario because your wife comes after God or your family, let's say. But all of this is out of respect. Let's be realistic now. If my man asks me where I've been and I say, oh, I was out to dinner with Brian, and then, you know, we went back to his place so he could vent to me about his ex. I know that's going on in my man's mind as well as my dumbass mind, because I would immediately pause myself. Because at this stage, you know, Brian is vulnerable and I'm giving him my time to listen to him. Even if I may not be thinking about it or like be for it, Brian now sees me as someone he could kind of I guess you could say prey upon, because how often am I really doing things for Brian than for my man? My man comes home and there's no food because I was with Brian all day with his problems. I missed dinner for my man because Brian needed me more. Like, that sounds so ass backwards. And even if there was dinner cooked, I'm not there to serve it as a wife. I gave my listening ear and time to Brian. So now when I'm home, I don't feel like engaging with my man because I'm burnt out of time or I'm tired. Listen, I'll leave my man if he ever thought that was cool, if he were in that situation with a woman friend, because there is a man that will do the things he should be doing as a man for me, and he would be setting boundaries so I, as his wife, is not disrespected. Okay? I can't do it like Cardi, guys. Now, remember, this is our home, our foundation, and we building it as a man and woman in a commitment. Now, it ain't me, him, and the Pussycat Dolls. I never signed up for that. So remember, in last week's episode, I did say a man who's truly masculine embraces responsibility. He loves, honors, protects, and provides for his family and loved ones. And that true masculinity is not determined by how much physical strength a man has, but rather the strength of his character. Now, if you honor and respect your wife, this shouldn't even be a factor. Those girlfriends you had before now need to know their boundaries that you set in place. And if he keeps stressing this, oh, this is my friend, when I say, she's now our friend, well, mofo, this is our motherfucking house. Now, if you want to go to your friend's house, then go as long as I'm out. But, if that other female has like any morals or respect for herself, she would check him and say, well, that's your wife. So I'm going to step back, or I feel like I need to speak with your wife first about, me coming over, or about you taking me to the airport. At the end of the day, this man should be addressing these situations. He shouldn't even be going to a girl, inviting her over without his woman knowing first. He should be like, hey, can I invite Jackie over? Oh, who's Jackie? You know what I'm saying? Like, I need to know who Jackie is before you just have somebody up in our home that we are building. Because some people are coming into your space to break it down. Those are bad spirits, is what we call them. Now, the friend on Facebook did ask, she asked me, how would I feel if my man went on a trip with his female friend for 4 days? But like I told her, sis, you must be trying to get me to go to jail or something, because that's not happening. Nah, that's not even my man to fix his lips to think in any form or shape that situation would ever occur. I'll be taking my own trip, okay? Upon the next man cocky. I'll be FREE, the nigga free. But for real, all in all, guys, you guys have to know what relationships define and come with respect. Like, some people say they have respect and forget that it's all around, like, 360 full circle. Don't get it twisted. It ain't halfway shit. And boundaries both ways for men and women. My guy friends, they don't even like get the time of day to say we going anywhere, because who? First of all, I have to run that by my man, and I'm just going to tell my man what this person said, and I'm going to be like, babe, you want to go too? Because my man is going too. Ain't no way you think you about to be sitting with me and my man's home with our child or the kids, and I'm just out having a grand old time with another nigga. Personally, for me, I would be uncomfortable. That's just period. But I do need to know, and as long as my dude know, he better be telling these females the same thing. My girl or my wife is going to, or I'm not fucking going. Now, if you're okay with the next man showing your woman attention, then you as a man, to me, you're not doing enough, or you got someone that you're giving your attention to. That's pretty much the distraction. Because now your woman's time is taken up by the attention you are not giving, or you just don't want to give no more. But crazy enough, though, sometimes it's not even the partner. It be the people around them, the people they choose to hang out with. But then again, that also does fall on the partner, because if you're in a relationship or you married or whatever the case is, you can't be chilling with Pete who want to go eat ass in the club and he telling you, drink up, man, because you got to do the same. F your woman at home. What happened to the old days? Honey poo, I hope you cut that nigga off. Let me just run an example by you guys. Now, who all watches Zītima? Listen, I am a hardcore fan of Zītima because I love Crystal and can't remember his first name, but Zavale is his last name. I hope I'm saying it right. But Zītima, guys, is a good show. It basically shows, a woman in her masculinity, but also trying to fight to be in her femininity. Like, she don't play, because she wants to be respected by this man, but he loves her. But of course, as a man, he looks at other women, but he's not engaging is what I'm saying. She might slap him in the head if she see him looking or something, but that's normal. They laugh about it at the end of the day. But basically, Zītima, Zach has a friend who's married, but he's so disrespectful to his marriage. And now Zach finally proposed to Fatima, and Zach's friend started sleeping with the woman next door that Zach leased part of his home to. Like, he cut off a section to where he could lease, so that way, of course, help pay the mortgage kind of thing. So this woman, she really wants Zach, but she trying to make Zach jealous by sleeping with his married friend. But at the end of the day, Zach's boy is like, oh, like, come on, bro. Like, why we can't go back to the old days? I've been your boy. F your woman. Being disrespectful. First of all, if my dude has a friend that's disrespecting me, calling me out my name like a bitch or anything, I hope you cutting that man off, because ain't no way you're going to have no man on the outside calling your female or your wife a bitch. You, as my husband, shouldn't even be making that man feel comfortable to call your woman that or me that. Just the same way my husband should not be feeling comfortable in any arguments or disagreements when he go talk to his boys to call me a bitch. Now, my thing is, in this episode now, Zach finds his friend in his hot tub with the girl next door, basically. And, he gets on his boy. He's like, yo, what are you doing? Like, and then, mind you, dude's wife is looking for him because she's like, she had a tracker. That's stupid to me. She had a tracker on his phone and she's like, I can't find my husband. And he here, this, that. So she ends up finding out that her husband cheated because she overheard him talking about the situation. But basically, Zach's friend is like, you my boy, you supposed to look out for me, F your bitch, right in front of, Fatima's face. You better get him, because just like Fatima, I would be getting him too. I'll be whipping that gun out so fast out my purse. Do not play with me. I don't have a gun, y'all. I don't have a gun. But overall, you got to be careful of the company you keep. You know what I'm saying? And especially for this man to already be married, you should be setting examples to your friend for marriage. You know what I'm saying? And if you don't want to be with that person, leave. Because now when his wife found out, he's like, no, baby, no, this, that. I wasn't, just making excuses. You know what you're doing. You out here disrespecting your wife behind her back. Now, when she do it to you, men can't handle the shit that we do to them. I dare any man to come on here and say that they can. And that's just what it is. Now, the next question is, do you think men and women can be friends? Now, like I said before, is he in a relationship or is he married? Because at the end of the day, if so, that is our friend, period. Now, if you mean being single, then of course, yes. Just always realize that women can say what they want, even in these nigga modes. our pussy is internal. This is the gates right here. We keep this sacred. We keep it locked. We're supposed to. Everything does not gain access or should not gain access to our vaginas. But that is an internal thing. The guys have the key. We got the hole. You put it in the hole, it unlocks feelings, emotions, all that stuff. And sometimes we tend to cater to these guy friends, or, we cooking meals for these guy friends because we single, which is cool once in a while. But when you start to do it and, I cleaned up the house for you and stuff like that because I knew you was coming over. And yeah, I had to make myself look good before you came. All that little slick thing, like, if you my male friend, you my male friend. I'm not sleeping with you. Now don't get me wrong. There has been some male friends in my past that I have slept with, but it's never been like, we tried to make something out of it, but it was just like, it ain't gonna work. And there's really male friends that I have that they're just male friends. They're not gonna get this sacred nothing. But 9 times out of 10, if I do have a male friend that I've slept with, it's because we were trying to get on the verge of being in a relationship and, just weren't ready, kind of thing. So I think, men and women can be friends. Sometimes emotions do tie into it. Some men, you could be friends with them for years and, they always be going to their guy friend like, yo, she been down with me, rocking with me, even just as my friend, and I'm feeling her. You never know how long that may take a guy. Statistically, they say men fall faster, but that's another segment. I'm going to need the guys to chime in on that one. So I know for real. Now, this next question is, how important is mental health in a relationship and how should it be handled? So for me, mental health is everything. Like, you have to make sure that you are happy with yourself to even be able to cater to someone else and even being in a relationship. Your head has to be screwed on properly, because if it's not, it's going to cause turmoil. You know what I'm saying? It's going to cause some sort of fight or disagreement, and the disagreement can turn into an argument. What I feel like in a relationship is we could have not arguments, but I like to debate. I don't like to call it an argument. We can have disagreements. We can have agreements, but arguing gets to a point where it starts to get disrespectful. Now, I'm not saying this for every couple, but if we can have a smooth debate and, we go lay down at the end of the night, holding hands, kissy, cuddling, blah, 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 cool. But I feel like that has to do with the mental health as well, like how you're treating someone. Like, are you happy with yourself prior to getting with someone? You want to be happy because at the end of the day, your partner's there to build with you. Yes, of course, those things will make you happy, but you shouldn't be going to your partner like, oh, you're supposed to make me happy, like I'm not happy. Okay, so were you happy prior to getting with me? If your answer is no, then you should have never gotten in that relationship, because you should have been happy enough to know that your happiness pulls off on someone else to give that energy needed. Like, as women, we're emotional, but we give that uplifting spirit for our men to go out and fight into the world and provide for home as they need to. Like, there's no sort of static that's causing them to not feel like providing for the day or some shit. But even as a man, you should still provide regardless of a disagreement. They say arguing is healthy, but I feel like a debate is healthier, because arguing just sounds too harsh to me. That's just to me. I feel like arguing is like, pulling strings, because when you argue, you trying to low blow, you know what I'm saying? You're trying to find anything. And if you're that type of person, then more than likely for a man, when they're a man and you're trying to demean who they are, that's just, yeah. You causing a little, a lottle fuel to the fire. Overall, though, your mental health is important. And I will say, after having my daughter, which I will also touch on that personal topic in another segment about kids, but after having my daughter, I did face postpartum. I used to be like, postpartum, I've heard about it. I would never say that it doesn't exist, but I'm just like, I'm going to fight it if I ever do have it. But when I tell you postpartum is like the devil stepping on your brain, and it leads to so much emotional warfare inside of you because, you had someone inside of you. So your body trying to normalize and get back to you, it's hard. And I faced postpartum at a time where my daughter was going through some things and I was, faulting myself for it. And that was mental health in itself. I was so scared to be around my daughter by myself that it would cause for me to be yelling at my significant other because I'm like, yo, why are you leaving when you know I'm here with her? Like, what's wrong with you? And that made him feel like, yo, what the F? I'm not doing nothing. You know what I'm saying? And, in those times I look back and I'm like, yeah, I was dead wrong but at the same time, I was trying to look for some sort of comfort. I was scared. I didn't want him to go nowhere. And it was on his times that he was free, please just stay with me because this happened to her and my mental health is not there. But I was very real in the things that I would tell him. For a man, it's hard for them to understand postpartum because men go through postpartum. They actually don't realize that they do. But a man who's really engaged with himself and he knows himself, he knows that can happen to a man. And they're very aware or self-conscious. They know that postpartum can happen in men. But overall, my mental health was not good. And how I handled it is I did seek help, you know what I'm saying? Because I needed this to stop, because I needed to be good for my family, my daughter who was just only a month old. So how should it be handled? I'm going to be real with you guys. Stop trying to go to these friends who are, if you're going to these friends about your relationship and they're the type of friends that's always like, oh yeah, bitch, you need to leave him, or man, nigga, you need to leave that bitch alone. Stop doing it. Go to therapy, go to counseling, get advice from somebody that do not know you. You can start from a clean slate, because most of the times when it comes to mental health, it always stems from some sort of childhood trauma. And I'm just being real with y'all. You have to know what trigger points cause this trauma to how you were raised up, or how you may have raised yourself pretty much into thinking. There's nothing wrong with therapy. I know the stigma is, men or black men, they don't need to be going to therapy, but everybody has some sort of trauma. It doesn't even have to be family. It could have been a fucked up relationship, whether it was on the man or the woman. Go to therapy. Stop looking for these friends, because all they're going to do is, drink your problems away, smoke your problems away. But now when that feeling goes away, you're back where you were, to where you should be handling that situation that's affecting your mental health. It should be handled, period. You get exercises. I'm going to tell y'all straight up. They offered me giving me pills. I did not want pills, okay? I wanted an outlet. My outlet was to start writing and burn it. That shit felt so good. So yeah, if you're going to be in a relationship, handle you first. Make sure you're mentally prepared. Some of us are not mentally prepared, and we bring over our trauma expecting our person to be that fix. No, you don't want them to be the fix. You want them to be the person that's uplifting you, motivating you, things of that nature. Even if you want to call that your fix, but you should already be fixed to get the additional rewards. Because how can a man, if you're the female with the mental problems and you haven't handled it, how can a man move forward with you if he's trying to handle the past trauma that you went through that he did not create? Ask ourselves that. Now, I do want to touch back on this question because you heard Ashanti and Chris, their opinions on this. Now, the question was, do you think people are too dependent on what social media thinks a relationship should be like, and why? I believe so, because at the end of the day, what we tend to see on social media, we bring into our household. And sometimes what we already have planned for our relationship, we see something on the outside and now we're like, oh, we should put that in our relationship. And that kind of breaks the straightaway path. I mean, some things are good, but it depends on the things that you are looking at. Like, for instance, just like Ashanti said, I used to be that type of female, like, why you have single when you are in a relationship? Because yes, that does cause for questions from people on the outside, you know, like, oh, you lying, this, that. Like, okay, a man could have he's single, but you rocking, you're in a relationship and you got pictures and your man doesn't have no pictures. Fellas, I'm gonna be realistic with you. It's not all about social media, but if that's your queen, that's your queen. You shouldn't be afraid to post your queen. You shouldn't feel like it matters to post your queen, because at the end of the day, there are men out there that do post their queen because they're like, this is my wife first before anybody. At the end of the day, it's not to say you got to post her every single day, but, you know, uplifting your woman or giving her that acknowledgement, it always feels good. I'm sure it feels good for a man at the end of the day too. Like, this is my man, this is my king that be providing, you know what I'm saying? Because men don't tend to get that. And for me, what I've noticed in a lot of guys, they love words of affirmation. And we're going to definitely have a segment on that about, you know, the love language. Like, what's your love language? Because we don't tend to focus on what someone's love language is. And I definitely can say from the experience, not my experience, but watching from the outside, that sometimes whatever your love language is can definitely put you in a situation that you do not want to be in. Because I'm just say that. You know why? Because that's a whole nother segment. And this is about relationships. Now, the last question from our bestie was, do you think roles have changed since our parents and even after them just recently? And what changes are there? Well, this was like in the last segment. Roles have changed since our parents because women are now in this nigga mode where they're doing things that men can do. And I'm not saying there's nothing wrong with that, but you also have to know as a woman, if you're going to be a construction worker just like a man, you're not afraid of heights or whatever the case is, and you can lift 150 pounds, cool. But when you come home to your husband, be that woman. Don't be like, oh, what up, nigga? Yeah, you made sure you cooked dinner? You know, I was just out here lifting all these weights and shit. Like, what's wrong with you? I'm climbing buildings. Wait a minute. Are you the guy in this or what? And, you know, it's okay for women to work and, you know, do things that men do when it comes to like working status. But when you're coming into the home, you want to be into your femininity. You want to provide for your home. But there's also men out there who don't want their women to work. Or they want their women to be home and be the nurturers. And some women are like, I need my own job. For me personally, I would love to be home. I know the feeling of being home while my man is out. I love it because at the end of the day, I got time to pamper myself. I got the time to cater to my child. Because when I'm not doing that, I feel guilty. Like I'm not spending enough time with my child, or I don't have enough time to cook, So for me personally, I love being the woman. I love being in my femininity. But at the end of the day, if my man's okay with me working a little job that's in home, like for instance, I do my podcasting. That only takes up 30 to an hour of my day, and he's cool with that. So be it. That's what I'm going to do, because it's still some way for me to be out there in a sense. Or even if I'm a designer and when I make dresses and all my dresses are going out, say I have a couple meetings I have to fly out, but at least I know if I'm talking to these companies. Nowadays, a lot of companies or schools or whatever the case is, you tell them you have a child, that a child has to come with you because you're a full-time mom. And this is your ownership at the end of the day. Remember that. You own this business, or you own your dresses and everything. So they have to be respectable that you have to bring your child with you. Some may not be okay with it, but then there are some that are, because they know as mothers, this is the role we take on. Or if my husband's like, okay, you have that meeting or whatever, because your man is going to want you at some point to have that outlet, go out with your girls or your married girlfriends to have like a 2 or 3 day vacation. He'll take care of the kids or whatever the case may be. But overall, do I think roles have changed since our parents? Yes. And what changes are there? Like I just said, women are in this nigga mode. Like, we don't need a guy. And there are women who are like, oh, I need a guy, but he has to match my income, or he has to match this. Like, we put so much on what a guy has to give us. But as women, the first thing we think about is, well, if he gives us this, when we just got to give him sex. Like, you got to come out of that mindset, women. Like, you got to know what else you can do for a man. Like, it's not just about sex. Can you be his listening ear when he needs it? Can you be that confidant? Can you be that woman that, loves your man and embraces how much he does for his home or his family, his wife, whatever you may be? That's just my thing on that. And that's that on that. But so those are the questions from the besties. And I also wanted to get into a little short segment, because this is relationship. Now, I'm going to be real with y'all. I was in a relationship before. I know I said on the last segment as well, I was with someone who was pretty much, to me, a bitch nigga. He was putting his hands on me. He would tell people like, oh, we not together, but we live together. I was staying with him, let me say, because at this point to me, it was a relationship. So I was staying with him, and we would do shows together because I was being an artist and everything. And when he would go out there, people would try to say, oh, she said y'all was together. Mind you, I never said shit. I never said that was my man. But once he heard that, he's like, why are you going around telling people that we together, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, I never told anybody that. Well, why are they saying it? Okay, so you don't trust that I'm not telling people that. Okay, cool. And it would always lead to him trying to put his hands on me, or he's frustrated because now he ain't got no money and I'm the one who's making money. Well, your past trauma is not my motherfucking problem. The way that you were raised up is not my motherfucking problem. You should have found some sort of outsource. You should have went to therapy instead of sitting here smoking weed and blacks and all that. Because that was a true relationship. And I had to learn that myself. I had to learn once that he was out of my life, my days became so much sunnier. Like, I can't even tell you how much I was able to breathe again. That's how serious it was. And another relationship that I had, this guy, now he was cool and everything, and we kicked it off when I was in high school. But his problem was, now he was a gentleman until so as a woman, some of us, we don't believe in shaving, or, well, let me say, now women get waxes. I'm all for that now and everything of that nature. But back then I was still young. I was, like, what's this? Like, is it good for you kind of thing? But I was also still learning my body growing up. And one day he was like, oh, you didn't shave? Like, what the fuck? Get out my motherfucking house. Oh, bitch. You don't gotta mess with me. Bye. Now, those days I was true to this shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you don't fuck with me, I don't fuck with you type of thing. I don't gotta fuck with you. Get out my space. And then he started calling my phone like, oh, I don't remember saying that to you. Or I was just playing. I was kidding. So we not together no more. Blowing me up. I'm like, this nigga is crazy. And you don't ever know certain things about people until you really do get into a relationship with them. That's why they say you date people to kind of learn how they will be in a relationship. Let me see, another relationship that I had. Oh, they're gonna hate me for this one, because a couple of my friends, the ones that I'm mentioning, y'all might know. Some of my friends that are on Facebook, they know what I'm talking about. So I had this guy I was dating, and he lived like about 2 hours away, because I was in New York at the time, and he used to take the train to come and see me. Well, let me say, I used to take the train mostly to go see him, because I was the one with the bread. Just gonna be real with you guys. He wasn't rocking the way. I pretty much built that nigga up, let me just say. Because I was always the goody two-shoe, the nice one. Oh, you need help with this? I got money to help you with this. Not realizing that I was pouring too much into this person, and I pretty much was the provider at this point in time. So he used to be in a choir, as he says. He was a Christian, as he says. And yeah, we were kicking it off. But at some point, his cousin came out and was like, you need to tell her the truth. And I'm sitting here like, what's going on? And in my mind, I'm like, oh, I was so far gone from the cheating thing that I wasn't even thinking about him cheating. So his cousin was like, yeah, he's going to tell you what he did, because I think it's messed up. I don't cheat. I'm like, huh? So I start to ask him what happened. He's like, okay, I cheated. When? Oh, it was like a month ago. I'm like, with who? Like, where's this girl at? Like, where's she from? But I should have known, because I met this nigga on Tag, being a youngin', being rebellious and doing all types of shit. I met him on Tag, and Tag was a whole ass social media shit. So I asked him about the girl, and he's like, yeah, she lives in the Bronx. What? She live where? Yeah, she lived by the 2 line on 220 something or whatever the case is. I'm like, nigga, you came to my motherfucking turf? I live on 241st, so you about 15 blocks away. You lied and said that you was at a whole church convention, that y'all were actually coming to Mount Vernon, that's like around my area. And y'all were pretty much gonna be, doing some sort of singing, a choir practice, whatever the fuck it was. But come to find out, this nigga went and slept with this girl. But I got an even better one for y'all. This relationship was really shit, y'all. So I said to him, oh, so you slept with her? He's like, not necessarily. I said, what do you mean? And mind you, I had met him this day. The day that I met him after he said he went to this church thing, I didn't find out about the cheating thing then. This was later on. So he was like, I ate her pussy, but she wouldn't let me fuck. You desperate bitch. Like, you ain't get no type of sex, but you went down on this girl. And I mean, shit, she probably was like, yeah, okay, you can get up. I don't really want to have sex with you. And there's women that are like that. But your easy, simple ass mind wants to go eat pussy and ain't get none. So let me tell y'all, now that I started thinking about the time frame and the time back, and then he was like, yeah, I had met up with you that day, whatever the case is. I was like, that's the same day your top lip has smelled like pussy. Y'all ain't hearing me on this shit. When I tell you that I was close to almost, I'm not even gonna say it on my podcast, but just know that his mom and dad would have not had a son. Because I felt like that was the most disrespectful shit. And then on top, I mean, I'm not saying I've dealt with some disrespectful shit. Like, I won't even bring it up. But some of y'all niggas are really disrespectful, because let me tell you, if a woman did the shit that y'all think y'all doing, oh, y'all would probably be a bitch nigga then. Like the way y'all would be talking to us, oh, you hoe ass bitch, this. Okay. So did you not just screw Sally? But this nigga, he ate her pussy, tried to come that day and kiss me, and I backed up. I'm like, why your top lip smell like that? He's like, oh, I don't know. It's probably something I ate because I just ate before I came here. Smelling like you was in between the deep blue sea. And then when I found out who the girl was and I asked her, I was like, did you sleep with him? She's like, no, but to make you mad, yes. So what's true? You really just ate this girl's pussy. And I'm just like, you's a dirty ass nigga. So me being all, nice, I guess you could say, because I should have left his fucking ass alone. I ended up staying with him. It wasn't long, but then he had broke up with me talking about, yeah, I felt like you were going to break up with me first. And then had the nerve to come one time and ask me for help with something. I promise you, that was the first time, I want to say, probably the second time that my mom has ever heard me go batshit crazy. I was in that room going off on this thing. I was like, you was a bum ass nigga. Yo, Levi's, bitch. I said, I'll burn everything. Guys, let me tell you, this relationship topic could get deep, because I done encountered so many things. And to keep it respectful, I'm not going to talk about nothing, current. My relationship is great. We both had to learn each other. There were things that would have made it a relationship, but we learned each other. We have a beautiful daughter. And at the end of the day, we're still a work in progress. People learn something new about each other each day. But I can say I do love him, and for the things that has changed, and not only on him, but for myself, like, it makes the relationship float. Now, I be wanting to know, guys, like, what's y'all little, what was y'all relationships? Leave a podcasting message, leave your questions or your comments, and I can read it on this show. Like I'm saying, because our next segment, we will be talking about your love language, and I will be coming with examples of love languages. I mean, for the experience that I have dealt with people, y'all could feel some type of way. I'm finna call y'all out. It ain't gonna be no names though, but just from the experience of what I can say as far as the love languages and the pros and cons within that love language, yeah, it's coming to SoleilCity, because like I said, it's a hot topic, no politics. And I just wanted to thank all my listeners once again, because I'm almost close to my numbers. I'm not going to say until you guys hear it soon, but definitely keep listening. Share this with a family, a friend, an enemy. I don't give a fuck. Just share it, because you guys make this possible. You guys make this segment and these topics keep going. If you want to hear more on the relationship topic, please send in your questions, your comments, and we can always make a bonus episode, because I'm gonna do it. So guys, once again, thank you so much for tuning in to SoleilCity Podcast. Love all my besties that's out there listening. And thank you to the listeners in India. Definitely got to shout that out as well. So I will be seeing you guys next Sunday for another hot topic, no politics. See you soon.